If you guys have been wondering how effective clutch fans really are, you've come to the right place, because today I'm gonna be putting my RPM Powersports clutch fan to the test. So what we're gonna do, obviously I've got the RPM one installed right now. It's a little wet, I just had to clean it off because I'm gonna be taking it off for this video. So what we're gonna do, I have the piece of tubing that I cut out. I'm gonna put that back in, and then since I have my Razorback gauge, I'm going to be going out in the trails and I'm going to try to do a very consistent loop, and I'm going to do it in 4-wheel drive, I think, and I'm going to go in high. Typically I only ride these trails in low, but high is going to give it a little bit more strain on the clutches, and hopefully we'll run a little bit warmer, so I'll have a little bit more of a kind of fluctuation, hopefully, because it is pretty cold outside. I think it's in the 40s today. So I want to make sure I get that clutch really warm so we can really test that fan to see how good it works. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna have that old tube in there, so no fan, do a test run, and then we're gonna come back, put that fan back in there, and then do the same test run and see what happens. And I also wanna see what happens to the clutch temp once you stop right after a hard ride. I think it goes up, so we're gonna see what happens if that fan helps cool it after you're done riding, and that'll let you guys know if you should be picking up one of these clutch fans. So stay tuned, because we're gonna go hit the trail. The way this is gonna work, I've got another GoPro down here, gonna be looking at the belt temp gauge. I'm gonna go do a loop, and then I'm gonna turn the machine off for 5 minutes. And then we're gonna see what the temperature is throughout that whole ride, and then see how quickly that clutch cools down, both with and without the fan. We're gonna see if that fan really is worth it. So let's go hit the trail. All right, we're at 90 degrees, starting loop number 1. 88. All right, 3, 2, 1. them apples, baby. That was a fun little rip there. Whew. I don't think I've gone in those trails that fast in a long time. The timer right now is at 7 minutes, 23 seconds. So that was probably a 7-minute loop around 100 acres. So we were moving. I know I did a second loop there up at the top area. It's like kind of the far corner. I did 2 loops just to really open it up and get that clutch really moving. I think I got up to, I believe, 66. I'd have to go back and look at the film. What is this? Bait ball. Really? Really? Clean up your shit. This is ridiculous. Bait ball. Okay. Sack it, baby. I don't know if you can hear me, but sack it for the win. They gave me that bag, super clutch. I put all kinds of shit, not even just my stuff, other people's trash in there, but oh man, yeah, that ride was insane. So I've got the timer going right now. I got the timer going right now, and I'm gonna wait and see what it is at 5 minutes. Maybe at 2.5 minutes, I'll kill the motor so the clutch stops spinning and just see what that clutch temp does. So let me check real quick. It's at 1:45, so I'm gonna let that sit for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll turn the motor off so that primary clutch isn't spinning anymore, and then I will see what that gauge does from there. The highest temperature I saw was 145, I believe, and I think that was right when I came into this field. So I'm gonna see what the other GoPro shows. It's a shitty GoPro. I think it's like a Hero 3, so that footage is probably really shaky, but we'll see what it caught, see if it has any other temperatures that I maybe didn't catch when I was out there riding. And then we're gonna go back, put that fan back in there, and then we're gonna do that same loop again and see what happens. So we're at 230. Go ahead and kill the motor. And let's see here. Looks like we're at 125. So we'll let that go for another 2 minutes or so, see what that final temperature is. And again, we'll go back and put the clutch fan back in it and do that same loop again. And I don't know, I'll have to see if the video caught it, but I know right after I started, I smacked a rock. I mean, it is, whoo, dang. I know you guys can't quite probably see that, but that whole piece is gouged real good. I mean, this whole rim, this is all from Ray's Rocks. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I'll link it up right here. But honestly, these Polaris tires and wheels doing pretty good. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead, let this run, and then we're gonna go do that loop again. All right, we got the clutch fan installed. We got the other GoPro ready to go. And we're gonna go back over to the field. Same thing as last time. We're gonna be in 4-wheel drive, high gear, and we're gonna go from a dead stop, and we're gonna do that exact same loop and see what the temperature gauge says. Okay, starting temperature, 85 degrees. Let's go, 3, 2, 1. blast. That's the thing about this place. If you watch my video from 2 weeks ago, obviously I'm at the KTVA, and that's the thing about this place is it's small, but you can just fly. I mean, and I know these trails like the back of my hand, but that's just so much fun. That's the kind of stuff I would do on my four-wheeler. I knew no one else was out there, so I could just book it. And that's so much fun to me. And really, I think that's why I want to get back into racing, because I love going fast and kind of just seeing what I'm able to do. So obviously, machine's still running. I got the stopwatch going. Sorry about the wind noise again, but I've got the stopwatch going. We're at 1:15 and we're at 1:15 and the gauge is reading 105. And I'm trying to remember correctly, I think without the fan, it was like around 115. And there is a cool feature. I'm gonna wait to show you guys until that 250 mark is done, and I'll shut the machine off, which we got about another minute. And there's a cool feature on those Razorback gauges, and I think I really just realized it. I'm sure they have the instructions, and you can go through and see all these settings for yourself, but they have a cool feature in there that's actually making this challenge really easy. I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, machine is now off, so the clutches are not spinning, and it did warm up there. So it was, I think it got down to, it got down to 88 there before I turned the motor off, so it definitely is helping cool it, especially when you're going, like when you're completely stopped. So there, the fan just kicked off now that the key's off. But what's really cool about that, I think it was helping overall through that whole ride. We'll have to check the other GoPro to really look at that and make sure. Now that's kind of stop and go and going fast, slow, turning, all that stuff. So I'm not sure how that's gonna behave if you're like a racer, like desert racing or stuff like that, where you're constantly on the gas. I would be curious to see how that works, but we're gonna let the timer run out here, and then I'll come back and give you my final conclusion. I forgot to mention that cool feature I was talking about. If you can see on there, it might be hard to show, but it's got an average temperature and then a high temperature. And then another cool thing, so this is the 3.2 version, you can change the brightness of it. So that's really handy. But it's got that average and high temperature thing. I took a picture of what it said on the last go, and it changes every time. And I'm gonna go back and double check this in the manual for that Razorback gauge, but I think every time you turn the key completely off, it resets the average and the high. And right now at the 5-minute mark, the average is 109. And before, without the clutch fan, it was 118. And then the highs were 148 without the clutch fan, 144 with the clutch fan. So the average temperatures were lower and the high temperature was lower. So do with that what you will. But we're gonna go back to the truck and grab some water, and I'm gonna give you guys my final conclusion and really break down this clutch fan. So like I was telling you out there in the field, that clutch fan actually worked. I didn't have huge doubts, but I also was kind of just curious to really see if it worked before I really started to like kind of give my opinion on it. That's one thing I like to do, is at least test stuff out a little bit before I give you guys my full-on opinion. And after seeing those numbers, I can actually say that, yeah, it works. So I'm not gonna say it works for every case. I'd be curious to try it out in the dunes, and then if somehow I can get onto an actual racetrack and try it out on that and put it to the test, then I would love to do that. But for doing trail riding and just general stuff like this, I'm gonna say it definitely works. And I mean, it's only a couple degrees, so it's like, okay, is 10 degrees really that big of a difference? Maybe not, but it works. No one's saying it does or doesn't work. and it's definitely not a restriction, at least in the trail riding. Now, when you're going full throttle in Baja for thousands of miles, it might be a restriction, but I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't have that information. So as far as I know, the trail riding, it works great. So it's not a restriction. It actually cools it down a little bit, and kind of like my initial thoughts were, yeah, when you slow down for a corner or something, it's going to help cool it down real quick before you speed up and it gets hot again. And I think that was the case. So I would definitely recommend it. Go in with a grain of salt if you're a racer or hardcore dooner. Definitely want to keep the stock pipe just in case you need to switch it out if it does end up being a restriction. But I would say on average, it's going to be a great accessory if you are looking to kind of keep your temps down just a little bit. So there you guys have it. RPM Powersports Clutch Fan seems to work pretty good. If you want to go pick one up, you got to use code Schmitty at checkout. You're going to get 5% off. And you can get anything on their website, get 5% off. So pretty good deal. And that's about it. So we're going to go out there, keep riding a little bit. I got another video ready to film for you guys. It's gonna be pretty fun, so stick around for that. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.